Okay, here's the body. Here's the head behind it. Nothing really too spectacular going on in here. The paint artwork is really good shape. Playfield, it's got some wear, but it's not too bad. Anyway, one thing I noticed is I think they're called bellows are missing from the chime boxes, so you'll hear but it won't resonate. Still work. They should hopefully still work. We're going to check all the coils and everything, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's get to the playfield. Obviously, it's upside down. I take it out of the body. At this point, it takes very little effort. I like doing it this way, just because it's easier to get to what we need to do. So here's what we got to do. First off, all the contacts, all the switches, all the contacts, everything that opens and closes and makes contacts, we need to clean and adjust them. We're going to check all the coils. It's actually in really good shape under here. Somebody's been here in the past, I can just tell, but we're just going to make sure everything is working. So all the coils, we're going to check them, ohm them out, make sure none of them are open or burnt. Flippers, we're going to adjust them and clean the contacts. Okay, all the light bulbs, are going to check the illumination and the control. Then I'm going to show you a trick using a power supply. Drop targets, we're going to place the ones that aren't proper. This has got a mixture of drop targets, just like they all typically do. So I'm going to change them and adjust them and make sure, and then check all the mechanicals to make sure everything is moving, nothing is binding. Take any grease out that people might have done, but just give it a general overall, make sure everything is working as required. Yeah, we can tell this coil's being replaced. Okay. What kind of a coil we have on it, I'll have to check. Hopefully it's not a Gottlieb, but here's the proper Bally coil, and we'll get into it. So first I'll clean and adjust the contacts, and I'll bring you through the journey as we do that. Okay. All right, so all the contacts, first thing you want to do before you clean and adjust is make sure the screws are tight. Okay, if the screws aren't adjusted, or they're not tight, I should say, you can make all the adjustments you want, and it's just going to sit there and flop around. Okay, here's your adjustment tool. Okay, it's basically got a slot in there. I think you can see that. And what you do is you adjust, not the leaf part, but there's a part underneath. You see right there? This is what you adjust. Okay, and then that will set the gap. Remember, when this switch closes, you want these two to touch. So I'll take a business card. This used to be a business card. I just cut it in strips. You put it between the point. You close it. You give it a pull. And chances are pretty good you're going to get some dirt out of it. Okay, don't use sandpaper. Don't use anything like that on these contacts. Okay, so you're going to go through every switch in the game. I want to show you one that is loose, which is right here. So I think you can see how it moves around, and it's moving back here. All right, if you try to adjust this, good luck. Not going to work because of what's going on here. So tighten these two screws, make sure they're making proper contact so that they're lined up properly. Make sure this is going to sound dumb, but make sure the right screws are in too, so you don't pop through the playfield, right? Okay. More. There we go. Okay, now it's touching. So definitely have to make sure we adjust that. Okay, I'll bring you back. Okay, now let's check the coils. What we do is take your multimeter, put it on ohm. Okay, positive and negative. And try this one-handed. And just put it across the coil. You want to go, it doesn't matter which way. And then, so there we are. This isn't difficult. Okay, there we go. And there's the reading. Let me lift it off. Let me lift it on. Okay. If you're less than 3, then you have a problem. but you want to double check to make sure that nothing is basically shorted, okay? So this one's 21. We're going to check everyone, and don't forget to do the ones for the coils. Now, at the same time you're checking the coils, you can also check the mechanics to make sure everything moves properly. Okay, and you're also going to make sure you tighten all the stops. Just make sure nothing is loose. Okay, and that'll take care of the mechanic part. Now, as far as the flipper coils go, which is this one right here, these ones, there's 2 coils in there. They're a little tricky to check. The way I see it, as long as they move, okay, and there's nothing binding, or you don't feel any resistance, it means the coil has not been overheated, and you're good to go. So these ones appear really good. Okay, so I'm going to check them out, and I'll get back to you. Oh, then I'm going to show you how to adjust the flippers, which is coming down here. All right, I'm going to do something very controversial here. These green things are capacitors. And Bally went crazy with these things and put them all over the playfields. Okay, what they do is they hold an electric charge so that the switch registers quicker when like the ball rolls over. And for those switches that really open and close really quickly, that's why they put them there. Here's the problem with putting them there, is these things short internally. I don't know exactly how they do, but they do, and then it locks on that switch, which might not be too bad on one of these rollovers, but when it happens to a pop, it causes grief, because the pop might short on, burn out the coil, and kaboom, and take out a diode. If you look back to the beginning of the video when I talked to the solenoid driver board, there is a tip that was completely destroyed. So who knows, maybe one of the solenoids sticking open, that's what blew them out. So I'm gonna cut these out, just clip, and then, you know, as you're going around the game, you want to check for other things too. So we see a bit of electrical tape, so there's, you know, something going on here that needs addressed. Looks like the wire is coming off, so definitely want to fix that. And then keep rocking and rolling, and I will bring you back. Oh, and don't forget about that coil right there. That guy's a bugger, the coin lockout coil. That thing is on all the time. When the game is running, you hear that hum on most of the bellies from the coin door. That's the thing that's on. So to be honest with you, I'll probably just clip the wires right out, because for home use it doesn't really mean anything, but that's where we are so far. Okay, so I found a potential problem here. Hopefully it's not too big, but just checking all the bumpers. So just basically grab the ears, pull up. These ones move perfect. Watch this one. It's sticking too. So I'm just gonna pop this off and see what's going on with it. Let me see if I can set you guys up so you can see what's going on with them. Okay, this just doesn't seem to be moving properly. It's sticking. So I'm going to take it out, take this out here. Let's see if I can set you up somewhere. check. Here's a good way of checking whether you got coil that's on the fritz or not.
See if you can easily pull out the sleeve.
Problem. So this coil hasn't been overheated or anything like that. So we can rule this out. Not really much going on over here. Okay. Just seems to be, this isn't wanting to participate very well. So I'll just take it apart. I'll give it a good cleaning. No lubrication, okay guys? Do not put any lithium, grease, or anything like that. It just causes more grief than good with these things. So I'm just gonna clean up the shaft. Ah, there's the problem. This might do it, eh? What do you think? Shoes are broken. Okay, I'll go find another one. This is the steel part, broken half. Jimmy working on the pop bumpers. Got the playfield out, got the bodies here. Working on the pop bumpers. One of them wasn't popping properly. I haven't put it in the game yet. Just going through all the mechanicals just to make sure everything is good. I found busted. This should not be in two pieces. I think you can figure that out by now, right? Laugh out loud. So anyway, put that in and we should have good pops, and I will I'll keep letting you know what's going down, brother. Okay, here it is. Good to go. No binding, no sticking, no nothing. So to that, bye-bye. All right. So what do we want to now, guys? Okay, so... Okay, we did all the mechanicals. We checked all the coils. Okay, let's adjust. And that does say clean the flippers. We're gonna do, I guess the bulbs and the drops are gonna do them last. So let's get on to the flippers. So what we need to do is manually depress it, basically till it craps out, and you want to double check to make sure that these things move 1/4 inch from a break. And in this case, because there's 4 flippers, this has to turn on. They have to connect to turn power onto these. So just forget about that. You know what, let's adjust this one. Let's adjust the flippers. So this thing's got 4 flippers. I'm going to do the mini ones because most games with 2 flippers will only have 2 leaves here. So I'll show you what we need to do. We want to check the gap, but again, very important. Make sure the switches are tight. Okay. I'll explain to you real quick how these things work. This is just a bit loose, but nothing too crazy. Okay, this is always closed. All right, when a flipper flips, it needs all the juice it can possibly get to do the initial flip, and then to hold it, it needs very little juice. That's why coils are actually 2 coils in one. So anyway, on the initial flip, these are closed, so this is getting full juice. On the flip, bang, this will open, and it will kill the high power and activate the low power. So now it's just holding the flipper open, basically. You want to gap this at about 1/4 inch. This one is this one's fine. Now what you want to do, I'm going to try to do it. Yeah, it should work. Is get a burnishing tool. It's a file. And you want to file it. I don't know if you can see it or not, but they're kind of rough. Okay, you want to smoothen them. So put your file there. You're going to grab some needle nose pliers or something like that, and just go up and down. Okay, so these now are nice and flat. Where's the camera? There's the camera. Okay, they're nice and flat, so they touch very well. Okay, open, quarter, close. If you don't open them enough, it won't give you that really hard flip. So if you ever have really floppy flippers, it's probably because this isn't adjusted properly. So I'm gonna go around and do all four. Really quickly on 4 flipper games. So this is your initial flip. Okay, remember this is the one that's really hard. And then it opens. Okay, so this one opens. Now we're on low power, but it also activates power by closing that contact to that flipper. So then this one decides to do its flip. And then when it opens, it goes on the low coil. So when your button is completely pressed in and both flippers are flipped, they're both on low coil. Okay, so again, on a 2 flipper game, this is what you'll see. All right, so let me go around, adjust all the flippers, and we will get back. Check the lights. So we're tilting the playfield on its side. And the way we're doing it is we're just using clamps, okay? All right, let's use the power supply that we've used in the past. And we're gonna hook up the 5 volt. So we got 5 volts to ground, or ground, whatever you want to call it, one end. Okay, and then, so the black, and then the 5 volt to the other end. So this is the general illumination. So these lights come on the second you turn the game on. Basically, we're looking for this type of a light, not to be confused with this type of a light. So if you see here, these light sockets have individual lights, wires going to them. So we want to get the ones that look like this, and they're all over the playfield. So green, orange, you'll see green up here.
Red, white.
Now that we've got the playfield, I just want to give you a quick look. So not bad, you know, typical wear on this area with power play. But if we look at the targets, we've got just a quagmire of every possible target you can think of. So we're going to be replacing those. Plastics are good. Rubbers are marginal. They're starting to crack. So I'll talk to my buddy, see if he wants me to replace them or not. I'm going to close the garage door. We're on. Okay, so we have some lights. Let me go on the other side. Of course, it's hard to see because we got the window in the way. So these ones are working. These ones are working. Couple here. So
We had it on orange, green. Now we're putting it on red, white.
right, and it lit up the other half of the bulb. So luckily we're not chasing sockets at this point yet. But what's going to happen is when I do put it in the game, plug it all in, that'll make it a little easier to lift off the plastics and mess around with the bulbs. So we're actually in pretty good shape. Now I just want to double check. I'm going to check as many of the controlled lights as I can. A little bit of a different technique, but we should be able to see it from the other side. So I'm going to put the playfield down again. But again, this is a good exercise just because we are going to fiddle around with these drops and make them look the part anyways. So okay, let's look at the switched illumination bulbs. Now these are the bulbs that come on when you're in attract mode and they all flicker and they do that beautiful dance. The easiest way of differentiating those ones, again, is a wire that goes direct to the socket, and then you can pick it up from the wire that loops everything, or all ballys of this genre have a blue wire that this is the feed. This feeds the voltage into them, and then it goes through its thing. So hook up a wire. In this case, we're just going to hook up the block from the power supply, and then I'm just going to touch all the wires, okay, and see if they light up. So what this is going to help us establish is, first of all, is the light working? Okay, second of all, if we jiggle the bulb and we get it working, then we know it's a socket issue, because there's still a whole bunch of things that could be wrong. From the connector which is right, which are these. Okay, so these could be faulty, or the light board that they plug into could be faulty as well. I like going through this exercise. It does give me some peace of mind to tell me that, hey, you know, we're on the right track, or yeah, we're definitely got a long battle. This again, this game is in really good shape, so I'm sure we're going to find a couple of bulbs burnt out or whatever the case may be, but I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout. So let's just see how this thing rolls. So we'll start with the first one. So I'll turn my power supply on. Yeah, it works. So you can see it coming on, right? So we now have a good socket. Let's try this one here. Okay, that one works. All right, I think you get the general idea of what we're gonna do, right? Remember, okay, so here's a good example. This is not switched illumination. This is general illumination. So if we plug black to here, okay, let's do it actually, why not? If we go one side and the other side, we will light up, and you can just see a faint glow. We will light up the lights that come on the second you turn the game on, okay? So I'm just going to continue my merry way, see what lights up. And then we will go from there. Okay, so this one's not lighting up. So is it a bulb? What could it be? Let's see if I can put you guys down somewhere. Can you see what's going on? Yeah, you can see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, see how this one lights up? Okay, this one does not light up. This one does not light up. So is it because we got a bulb issue, or is it because we have a socket issue? We can actually check the bulb, see if we got continuity. Let's turn this baby on. There's a multimeter. We're putting it on. In my case, this one that buzzes. So when I touch the two, it makes the noise. Here's the bulb. This bulb is good. So this socket, I'm going to say, is an issue. Oh, yeah, see, there we go. Now it's back to life. Not trying to be cheap, but I cleaned up the bulb just to see if it was bulb or socket. Passed the continuity test. And look at that. Anyway, I think you can generalize what's going to happen now, right? Every bulb will check. Oh, no good. No good. Let's double check. All right, two more to investigate. Is it bulb? Is it socket? Okay, these two, it's definitely socket because these spin like with very little effort. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna modify. What you do is you solder these two together, okay, and then you move the wire from here and you solder it direct to here, and it removes the flakiness. It's not the easiest thing to do because these are it's difficult to solder these together. I don't know if I'll be able to film it while it's happening. I do have other videos where I show you how to do it. Okay, let's see what happens there. Wait for the thing to heat up and I'll bring it back. Okay, just gonna put some flux And pitter patter. Let's get at her. I also scuffed it up with some sandpaper. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, it looks legit, but we'll soon find out. Okay, now I gotta flip it over. It's not spinning, so that's good. Flip it over now. It's hot. Don't put the bulb in because the bulb actually makes it harder to solder because it takes some of the heat away. So I'm just going to put a dab there. I'm going to and I scuffed this up with some sandpaper as well. Okay. Same deal. Yeah, you guys can see what's going on. I'll give you a top view in a second. Okay, let's let it cool down. That's it. Now you're gonna ask the question, can I do this to all of them? Yeah, fill your boots, man. You wanna make it bulletproof, that'll do it. But it does take a lot of time. And I'm not gonna say surprisingly, again, this is in pretty good shape. The majority of these things have lit up on the first shots, so pretty jazzed about that. Where did I put the light bulbs now? Of course, I can't find light bulbs, so okay. Let me find some light bulbs and I'll get right back to you. Okay, let's see if our little trick worked here. Yep, bingo, bango, perfect. Okay, and of course this one is giving me grief now. This one's pretty loose too. All right, we'll figure that one out. Something ain't right, because these were just working.
I sound pretty confused, don't I? Wait for it.
Check this out. So you heard me sound a little confused on the last clip. Watch. So this one works. This one works. This one works. And these ones were working, but now they're not. Look what I found. I just moved around the wire and bang, the wire's broken. That's why it's not working. So we got to solder it back on. Unbelievable, eh? That's pinball. Okay, we're good now. There's the solder there, the bridge. Okay, you're gonna ask the question, did we have to do this modification? I don't know. Anyway, it's done. So we're done. Done with the lights. Oh, the last thing to do, guys and girls, is check the 1 amp fuse, which is right here, which I can tell you right now is the wrong one because it's too short. If this fuse is not installed and not the proper amperage, well, if it's not installed, first of all, none of the coils are going to work. Okay, if it's over amperage, you risk damaging things. It's a 1 amp slow blow, so I'm just going to make sure I pop that in. Okay, let's break into the drop targets right now. So the way we're going to approach this, some of them, these are different. Not different, but Valley's, when the targets drop, they close the switch. They drop onto these. There's other ones where Valley had them on the side with these little hooks. I actually prefer these ones better there's less mechanicals as far as I can see, but it is what it is. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to take out 2 screws here, and then on the reverse side, these are identical. There's 6 screws here that we're going to pull out. So I'll try to record it for you. I don't know if there's anything. Really interested in seeing it. I always take pictures, but because we have an exact replica to go by on the other side, it's not going to be required. This is the only time I ever think Phillips screws really come in handy, because you can go in on an angle as opposed to the Robbies, these ones, which are the preferred ones for me anyway. You got to be pretty well right on, but advantages and disadvantages. Okay. Let's go here now. See, yeah, you can see what's going on. Don't worry, I'll move these wires here. So this should just pop off. Just move to the side. Okay. Okay, be careful pulling this off because it's still attached, and it's going to give us the opportune time to clean that switch. Okay. Well, I got back in there with an adjuster. Okay. All right. So here's the drops. We're gonna have to tilt this on its side in a second. Basically, the ones we want to change, you just take out the little Jesus clip here, pull that off, pull the target out, up and out, and go from there. So I'll show you them. I'm just trying to figure out, well, these two are a different color than these two. Just trying to figure out what I need for targets, and then I'll go to, I got a whole bunch from a buddy of mine, and we're going to try to match them. I don't want to put brand new ones in, only because they don't look right. You know, brand new targets on a nicely used playfield, just like, I don't know, it's like putting on a new suit and wearing a set of old construction boots. It just doesn't match. So I'll bring you back. All right, let's try to figure out how we're going to mount you so I can show you. That looks good. It's a little easier to do a drop target this way, right? So it's never easy taking off these horseshoe clips, or Jesus clips I like to call them, because they go flying. You go, ah, Jesus. Okay. Oh, almost. There we go. All right. Take off the spring. Easy enough, eh? Put the spring in the target. Mount the target. You guys can see what's going on. Put the spring on the hook. Can't see jack. Anyway, all right, I can't do this one-handed, but let's see how easy they come out. That's why I like, whenever possible, take the whole thing out of the game and work on a bench, and it's so much easier. Okay, just put the clip back in, put the horseshoe in, and then put it back together, and then move on to the next one. While I have this out, I'm going to adjust it, and I'm going to show you how to adjust it. So here's the switches. So these are touching. So what's going to happen here, if you turn the game on, it might not boot, or it might start giving you erroneous points. So you see there's 2 leaves here. Actually, there's 4. So this one, let me see, or do I have to put something in the background here? Let's put something in the background. Okay, that makes it easier. I'm gonna try to do this one-handed, guys and girls. So if we look at this one here, see that? This is actually the leaf that sets the gap position here. Right, so don't bend the actual leaves that have the contacts on them. What you do is you bend the adjusting leaves. So if you see, if we move it this way, see how it pushes back? If we turn it the other way, see how it moves it forward? So that's the one you're adjusting. Okay, not the actual leaf itself, but it's the holder. And on this one here, it's the same deal. Let's see, I'm not moving the leaf. Watch, I'll show you. There's the leaf, or the switch, I should say. We're moving the adjuster. So I'm just going to move again this one a little bit. Pull it back. Perfectly adjusted. So now the rubber actually sits here. Okay, and that's what puts them together. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just crossing off the list. And the last thing to do is the 1 amp slow blow fuse. So here's the fuse that was in it. As I alluded to, it was a little smaller than it should be, but this one's actually 14 amps. I don't know if it's slow blow or fast blow. Whatever, it's the wrong one. We're gonna put the right one in. And then when we do that, there's some of the drops that I replaced. We will be done this part of the journey anyways. We have to throw this into the body, hook up the head, install the head, and see what we have. And I will bring you back for that. Okay, there's the popper fuse. 1 amp, slow blow, 1 amp. 2 of them for, I think, $8. What an absolute ripoff. Well, what are you gonna do? Okay, we're going in the game now. Okay, what are we gonna do to the body now? Very simple. I've already tested the coils, so these are fine. We're going to burnish. These are the flipper buttons, the same way we did with the flipper contacts. I'm just going to run the file through them, make sure they're nice and true and straight. Check for any wires that are, coming off or whatnot. This is, I'll fix this up. They just continued it. And this one, I actually hooked up a button to hook credits up. It's hooked up right to the toggle switch for the credits. Basically, all it does is just touches the two wires together when it flicks this thing, and they just hooked up a button. It's missing the tilt, which, whatever, home use game, who cares, not a big deal. But it looks okay under here, and I will double check all the connections for the wires to make sure none of them were broken or missing. And I'll do the same actually on the wiring harness, which I already did. So it looks pretty good. Okay,